So I'm going to show you the cohesion between what's happening with these businesses in America that have been pulled into this cooperation for this New World Order, is a simple way of putting it. It was something that On Point Preparedness, Mike, did a couple years ago, where they came underneath the Pope, who I think a good case could be made that that dude is the false prophet the Bible talks about. And so you can see this beginning all the way back then to the businesses getting involved with this beast system. And it goes from here and it comes all the way forward to the New York UN General Assembly's information speech that Gutierrez was giving, where he's also talking about that same theme of bringing all the international law to the nations, all the relationships from one nation to the next, and specifically U.S. businesses being brought into that. And I would tell you the reason why they're doing that is to control the masses. So let me just show you this. Very good video here.
Hey everybody, this is Mike with On Point Preparedness. I want you to take a long, deep look at this picture and recognize that the moment it is capturing is fulfillment of end times prophecy.
Well, the start of it anyhow.
A moment in time in which you're living. Specifically, it is the fulfillment of an aspect of Revelation chapter 18. You're looking at Pope Francis sitting front and center amongst a wave of suit and ties that have submitted themselves to Pope Francis in a very unique way in which the Bible said would happen. The event that you're looking at is called the Vatican Global Forum, and it's hosted by Fortune and Time magazine, and it was attended by some of the most prestigious businessmen across the world. This includes Fortune 500 CEOs, scholars, labor and church leaders, and philanthropists, and they had all attended in order to forge a new social compact for the 21st century with Pope Francis, that is entering into a contract with Pope Francis and submitting themselves and their resources to his agenda. If we look at the document that was summarized by Fortune and Time magazine called Working Group Solutions, we can see exactly what the intent of this get-together was. The document starts out by stating, "Your Holiness, the report presented here is a result of the work of some of the world's most prominent business and thought leaders." Keep that very important sentence in the back of your mind as we continue. These people that attended the meeting are the world's most prominent business leaders. And these business leaders at this forum from some of the world's largest companies have sought to answer the Holy Father's call, that is Pope Francis, to action, forging a new social compact or social contract for the 21st century. If we look at Revelation chapter 18 verse 3, it talks about Mystery Babylon, or this whore that rides the beast in the end times, the church that is control of the one world government. And it says, "For all nations have drunk the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies." The merchants in those days were the businessmen. And as Revelation talks about events to come, it is stating that the top merchants or businessmen of the earth will submit to Mystery Babylon, to this church, seeking her abundancies and delicacies. And take a look at this picture again. The importance of where Pope Francis is situated, right in the middle of all the world's top business leaders, and they have all submitted to him their allegiance to carry out his call to action, and also submitted their resources to it as well. So now that we've set the stage, wait till you see what the working groups came out with and what their plan for us is. Now what you're looking at is perhaps the most important aspect of this document that I feel you need to see and you need to share, because it is so readily apparent with what they're doing with regards to the mark of the beast and its spread worldwide. This working group is focused on financial inclusion, and it talks about how there remain obstacles to achieving the World Bank goal of universal financial access, and the fact that there are many challenges to obtaining this goal with hard-to-reach populations, financial literacy, and other aspects. However, here is what they propose. Jumpstart the underserved markets. Companies will support initiatives to produce digital identities. Digital identities for the 1/5 of global citizens who lack one, and therefore are shut out of the financial system. This one sentence is saying so much. It's the fact that 4/5 of the world currently has a digital identity, and only 1/5 does not. And Pope Francis's call to action is for these companies to support initiatives to produce unique digital identities for the remaining 1/5. And key words here, global citizens, something that we have seen come up on the horizon over the past 2 years, and I will begin to explain to you in just a few moments. But this is the mark of the beast, in which Revelation 13:17 talks about that no man might buy or sell save that he has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. They want all quote-unquote global citizens to have unique digital identities for the same financial system, so that no one is shut out and that everyone must play. Now, this global citizen term is something very disturbing in its own right, let alone paired up with Pope Francis's call to action. And it is a global community of people that identify with being part of an emerging world community and whose actions contribute to building this community's values and practices. At least that's what the website says. Really, it is preparing the citizenry for a one world government and the one world religion. They have festivals every single year all around the world, and in this one you can see prominent musicians, actors, and politicians flashing the all-seeing eye, the pyramid structure with their eye on top, and the mind-numbing sheep, all behind them, giving the same exact symbolism. You have people like Michelle Obama, Jay-Z, and many other more musicians, actors, and politicians supporting this initiative. Another big initiative that is paired up with Pope Francis' call to action is supporting this initiative. Another big initiative that is paired up with Pope Francis' call to action is the Paris Agreement, the COP21. And this one also had its fair amount of occult symbolism, with this globe structure that was hung from the Eiffel Tower, which had the all-seeing eye of Osiris as part of the artwork, along with the blinded woman, in which I've done symbolism on that in prior videos. It's all linked, folks. It is all absolutely linked. And to link it even more for you, if you haven't seen my video on how the Roman Catholic Church is Mystery Babylon and all the symbolism of the prophetic chapters of the Bible and how they relate to this church, please check out this video now and share with your loved ones, because we are seeing prophecy fulfill before our very eyes. This is Mike with On Point Preparedness. Hope you all enjoyed this. God bless.
So again, a lot of people hyper focus on the false prophet, Pope Francis, and Rome Babylon I mean, we have heard this for years. The important thing that people are not connecting in is he and that entity goes underneath your Jewish, Babylonian, Israeli Antichrist. Because there are two beasts. We talk about this all the time. All the time. There are two beasts in Revelation 13. There's the Jewish Babylonian Antichrist, Adam Kadmon, the divine androgyne, who is connected up to the AI as the abominable branch of this new family tree of post-human connection with technology at the top. He's the capstone at the top. He's that eye. And underneath him are the people who are in the false church of coexist. Coexist is all of your false religions that go together to worship the God of this world. You can't have one without the other. Nobody that I am aware of is talking about that. You have Rome always being talked about, which you should, and you have Islam that presents its host of problems and challenges, who partners together with Jewish, Babylon, Israel, and unbelief. But together, it all comes under one head, and that head is your Antichrist. So I want to be really clear about that. And actually, this was a mistake. I didn't mean to go into this video, but Many Fish, he's kind of a trip. I like him. I don't have a problem with him. I don't quite see everything that he does. I accidentally hit that, but that's okay. Uh, so I wanted to show you remember I said the cohesion about the CEOs of the industry being brought into the Beast One World system, One World Kingdom. Remember that? Was it this video? Okay, right here. So listen to this, because now bring it forward to 2019. Where? In New York City. Who's speaking? It is the Gutierrez UN General Secretary, who has a partnership with Noahide, who has a partnership with Rabbi Cohen, who has a partnership with Noahide. That's always in the back. Now look, he's going to talk about how the businesses are all part and parcel of this international law and the way that nations will exist together in one. And I like what Mike did with that video, because he really brought in the whole digital identity. He brought in the whole capacity for the little pieces that lead up to the mark of the beast, although I don't know if he understands about the implantable part of that into your brain, into your schnoggy. So that's important to know. But then the other thing that I liked about what Mike did with that was that global citizenry, right? So you've got all these people working for globalism while you also have them saying to the camera in your face, we're against globalism, but we're totally going to host the UN meeting here. And then Gutierrez is going to talk about this relationship with the business aspect together with international law. And really, it's about authority. Everything comes down to authority. Let's listen.
And that international relations are based on international law. We are and will remain an intergovernmental organization. At the same time, we need forms of more intense cooperation with other international and regional organizations, a networked multilateralism, as well as closer contacts with businesses, civil society and other stakeholders, and inclusive multilateralism. A networked and inclusive multilateralism will help us overcome the challenges of our current era. As we open the 74th session of the United Nations General Assembly, let me wish all of you a busy and successful year.
Blah, 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 straight from New York. Now, when you start getting into...
As we work together to achieve our common goals of peace.
When you start getting into the forcing of a language ban, a change in language, and then punishing people for that, you're now seeing the appropriation of international law trumping your Constitution here in America. The very thing that they've set out to do, they are now appropriating. They're bringing it into being. And watch, Trump does nothing. You know why? Because he's in on it. Now join me for the next one, because I'm going to show you even more and how it all ties back to this relationship between UN, America, and these Jews.